ओ ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। परमानन्दमाधवं परमानन्दमाधवम्। ॐ वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्महेधि वेदस्य महानिस्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेन अहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्माम् अवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यं निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यत् साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेतदेव गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। नारायण 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 नारायण। श्री कृष्ण। A quick glance at what all we have covered in this chapter till now, a quick glance at that before we move forward. And I'm going to give you one thing about this chapter also, that Bhagwan is going to, or in the next verse, Bhagwan is going to complete his teaching for this particular chapter. But let's have a quick glance first, as before we get into the next verse and see from where we left in the last session. So, in this chapter, the demand of Arjun was Tadekam Vada Nishchitya. Arjun says, Bhagwan, and it seems that you have a great liking for Sankhya Buddhi. You are actually propagating Sankhya Buddhi, and you consider that as a really at the pinnacle of spiritual achievement. And you say directly that Sankhya Buddhi becomes the direct cause for gaining the supreme consciousness or gaining self-realization. You consider that as a direct cause for that, and many places you have emphasized that fact. But the fact is, you also had praised the intellectual knowledge of Karma Yoga or Yoga Buddhi. It's not that you only said about Sankhya Buddhi, you also praised Yoga Buddhi or Karma Yoga Buddhi or the knowledge of Karma Yoga at many places. And you also consider Karma Yoga or the understanding of Karma Yoga, knowledge of Karma Yoga or Yoga Buddhi as also one of the cause for gaining the Supreme. You consider that becomes a cause, or it becomes a reason for you to achieve the supreme consciousness. That also you said. Sankhya Buddhi also you said. Yoga Buddhi also you said. Now, with these kind of mixed word of yours, where you propagate both the philosophies, you have praise for both the philosophies, even though you seem to have a direct and strong liking for Sankhya, but you are also praising in Karma Yoga. So Bhagwan, now you give me one single direction as to what to do. So Supreme Consciousness Bhagwan Krishna directly gave one advice to Arjun or instruction to Arjun, Niyatam Kuru Karmatvam. Now remember one thing, Arjun is a very, very devoted bhakta. He's a great devotee of Bhagwan, and he has accepted himself as a disciple or student of Bhagwan Krishna also. He said, Bhagwan, I'm giving the reins of my life to you. My intellect is deluded. Now you only take over the reins and try to overwrite my confused understanding, overwrite my conflicting ideologies, which are not letting me move forward in my life at all. Now remember one thing, here Arjun is a devoted bhakta or a great devotee of Bhagwan and a disciple also. Here Arjun is not sitting in opposition with a list of arguments for everything what is said. Now this is a word which I'm going to use now. I don't understand this fact that why in the political scenario when the parliament is selected and all, why do you have ruling party and opposition? Why can't you use the word ruling party and non-ruling party? That's all. Why? Because when when you coin the word called opposition, that means you have already defined their role. That whether you do good, bad, ugly, whatever, their act is going to be very clear. They only have to oppose because they are sitting in opposition. Now, why I got that word is, here Arjun is not sitting with a list of arguments, sitting in the opposition with in front of Bhagwan, that whatever Bhagwan says, I will try to bring out weakness from that. Whatever he says, I'll try to bring out arguments against it. Arjun is not sitting here like that. So here Arjun is sitting as a devoted bhakta, as a great devotee of Bhagwan with utmost faith and devotion, and also complete acceptance that he is a student and Bhagwan is a teacher here. Now, having said this, see the beauty of Bhagwan as a teacher. the beauty of Bhagwan, Supreme Consciousness, Bhagwan Krishna as a teacher. Even though Arjun is a devoted student, he is a great devotee, he has got faith and devotion towards Bhagwan, and he is also accepted Bhagwan as the teacher and given the reins of his intellect to Supreme Consciousness, Bhagwan Krishna, to rewrite his confused ideologies or correct his ideologies. Even though that is the fact, still you see, means what? Arjun has got the level of acceptance. I said in the last session also, I used this word in my live satsang in Bangalore also. And you please understand this well, that in all of us, these two capacities are completely different capacities altogether. Capacity to understand and capacity to accept. Now, many has the capacity to understand. So when the scriptural teaching is given to them, it's not that they don't understand. But where is the problem lying? They have the capacity to understand, but they do not have the capacity to accept. They consider themselves higher than everyone else, so they refuse to accept. So even though with the capacity to understand, and they are not able to gain that in entirety, they are not able to bring that into actual fruition in their life. They are not able to adapt that in their life. Why? Because the capacity to accept is missing. Now, remember one thing, for the knowledge to happen, especially the spiritual knowledge to happen, both the things are required. Some people may have capacity to accept because they consider themselves as not are so heroic or not so capable and all. So they may have the capacity to accept, but they may not have the capacity to understand. So both these things have to be there in the required quantity for us to act, for the self knowledge or the knowledge of Vedanta to happen within us, or to show its light to us, or to become a glowing thing in our life through our actions and words and all. I told you one thing before also, especially with Sanatan Dharma teaching, you need to understand, just by mere reading a book, you may not be able to teach. The capacity to teach is also a different thing altogether. For the capacity to teach, both the things are required: capacity to understand also, capacity to accept also. How can you teach something which you yourself are not convinced about? Now, for you to get convinced, you have to the capacity to accept. I can bring you many examples, but I'm not using that now because I may not have the time to explain it in entirety. So probably when there is some face-to-face session, we'll talk about these two faculties: the capacity to understand and capacity to accept separately. We'll deep dive into it for me to explain you with different walks of life, that from the different and expression in the life of different people, for you to understand this in a different way. So for our topic, it is important to know, see the beauty of Supreme Consciousness, Bhagwan Krishna as a teacher. Even though Arjun has got immense amount of faith and devotion towards Bhagwan, he has the capacity to understand also, he has the capacity to accept also, and capacity to accept because of the faith and devotion, and also he has accepted himself as a student. The moment one accepts themselves as a student, that means the person is accepting this fact that many things I don't know, or what I know may not be correct. So with that acceptance, I'm accepting somebody else as a teacher, that this teacher has the knowledge and can correct my knowledge, can give me whatever is missing in pieces of information or missing pieces of knowledge, this person can complete. That faith is what which comes in a teacher. So here, even though Arjun has got both the things, acceptance and faith and devotion also, and acceptance as a student also, and he has got the capacity to understand also, capacity to accept also, still Bhagwan gives 10 different reasons to say what he was saying is correct. Explain through 10 different and reasons Bhagwan gave, 10 different direct causes Bhagwan gave, 10 different and examples Bhagwan bring out to explain this as fact for our Arjun. Now, why Bhagwan brought out these 10 different and things in front of Arjun to complete the topic what he was trying to explain. Now remember one thing, even though there is no argumentative mentality in the student, because the required amount of faith and devotion is already there, and the acceptance as student is also there. But the reason why these things were given, and when teacher expounds upon a topic to a student, why he gives different facets of the things, only for the purpose so that it becomes a facilitating factor for the intellect of the student, of the devotee, to actually hold on and slowly gradually do the correction himself. Remember one thing, Guru is not trying to overwrite you at all. So remember that factor. Now, a Sadguru means an able Guru, a Guru who is teaching about the Sat. Sat means the Guru who is teaching about the supreme knowledge, supreme consciousness of God, or this supreme consciousness himself. They give these things to the student only out of their compassion for the student, compassion for the disciple, compassion for the devotee. Now, why? Because with these things which is being handed over to the student, a student can hold on to them and make his understanding firm, make his faith rock solid, and whatever doubts this student had, even though minute, big ones, small ones, whatever doubts which are there, could be eradicated from the intellect and heart of the student. And that is why all these kind of different logics and reasonings are given to the student. The 10th facet, the 10th reasoning which Bhagwan gave was Loka Sangraha. Arjun, Bhagwan says, Supreme Consciousness, Bhagwan Krishna says here, Arjun, for sure you are seen as an ideal person in the society. Many people in the society look up to you with great reverence, that about knowing about your greatness. They consider you as a great person in the society whose contribution to the society is far beyond his personal objectives. See, that is one of the way to understand the greatness of a person. And that is why you have this inherent responsibility of nourishment and protection of the society. And you for sure must do all actions, or must do actions in that direction as well. And in case you are able to channelize your energy in this way and do all your actions with the spirit of yajna, spirit of sacrifice, then remember, all those actions which are done by you who will not or become the reason to bind you, will loosen their binding nature on you. Rather, slowly, gradually, it is going to loosen all those strings which have tied this doer to world and worldly endeavors. Slowly, gradually, untie this person from all those bondages which he is already tied to. And uh, within that, at the topic of Loka Sangraha, or the nourishment of and protection of the society, Bhagwan also gave one instruction to all those people who are men of steady wisdom, or who are teaching spirituality, who are in the role of a guru, that Bhagwan gave an instruction to them, an order to them, that at while doing an action, you should try to ensure that you do not become attached to your action. So, remaining detached, you must practice all your action. And, uh, you know, that knowledge which is currently holding on in the minds of all those people who are ignorant, do not shake up their understanding, rather channelize their current understanding to the right direction. It's like a flowing river. Don't stop it, rather than stopping it, try to channelize it so that it can be useful for them also, it can be useful for people around them also, in the maybe society also. What is that knowledge or wisdom, because of which a man of steady wisdom or a man of realization or a man who has got complete knowledge about the self, how is that, with which what kind of a knowledge is this man of steady wisdom able to remain detached from the actions? That has been expounded by Bhagwan, Supreme Consciousness Bhagwan Krishna, in the verses 27, 28 and 29. Now, how are they able to remain detached? As you know, how are they able to, completely disassociate with themselves? And what is the practice they do? Which slowly, gradually, over a period of time, with that practice, they are able to perfect that art and able to place themselves naturally in that state. That is what Bhagwan has explained and about out in these verses. Now, remember one thing, the detachment or the disassociation which Bhagwan spoke about is at both levels. At worldly level also, which we call it Vyavaharik level also, and one is that they start at the worldly level first and slowly, gradually practice it on and on. And after a period of practice, that starts to become their natural propensity. Gets intertwined with their own nature, and that detachment starts to come naturally in them. Now Bhagwan said, which I also explained in the last session, when we talk about supreme consciousness or the self, which we call now as soul, or the our own self, when we call about, the nature of the self is always remaining ever detached from everything in the world. Remember one thing, the self is never attached to anything. There are some facets which I covered in my live satsang. There are some facets which I did not touch, because depending upon the audience also, and depending, because some things, some topics, it's when you touch them, if you cannot speak about them in detail because of the lack of time or something, it is better not to touch those topics. So some topics I did not touch also. Maybe in some other context I'll bring that up. When we talk about the worldly thing, we need to remember one thing, there are many facets which we do not understand clearly the way it is. So let me just come back to supreme consciousness. The true nature of our self or the supreme consciousness is a natural phenomena of being detached from everything. The self is of the nature of nirvikar, without any modification, niramsh, without any parts at all, niravayav, has got no separate things at all. Or like we have hands, legs and all, hands are different from legs, legs are different from hands, so we are with parts. So it is one complete whole, niramsh. It has got no parts, niravayav. It's a drishta. It's the nature of seer. See, when we say seer also, the thing is, for a seer, seen has to be there. A seer is always in context of something which is seen. If the seen is not there, there is nothing called seer, right? So those are details we need to understand when we talk about the self. So being in without any modification, without any being a complete whole, without any difference at all, without having any part, being a seer, remember this self, the supreme consciousness, the core self of me, never gets stuck by any kind of dharma or duties of all that which is seen. It does not get at stuck on with the duties. Stuck on means sticky, that duties that does not touch them at all, does not stick them at all, duties of whatever is seen and whatever the situation we live about in the life. Remember, it is always and always free. Free means free from everything. It experiences complete freedom. Now when we say free, and bound, that is also in context of the thing. It remains free ever. Just as you see the sky above you, the nature of the sky which we see is always to be untouched by everything what we see in the sky today. Like we see, if there is dusty wind going on, we say the whole sky is covered by dust. Has the dust ever touched the sky? Never. The sky is dark today. Has darkness ever touched the sky? The sky is lit with sunlight today. Sky has got no such property at all. Whatever since it has got no such thing at all, that is why everything gets projected on it. If it had something of its own, these projections would have become difficult. So in actual sense, the akasha we see here is, by swabhava it is asang. By its core nature, it is ever detached. It is never touched by anything. And so because it is never touched by anything, it does not have to practice detachment, because that's in its nature. Practice of detachment for us also is only there till the time we experience attachment and we have the feeling that we get attached to things here and there. For the sky, it is not a developed capability. It has already been there, inherent in its as a property of its own. Remember, the core properties of one thing cannot be left by that. Like example, the heat in the fire is something which cannot be separated from the fire. It is the property of the fire. The coolness in water, it's not something which can be separated from the water. It's inherent in that. To heat water, you have to use medium to heat it, because coolness is the property of water. The same way, the property of sky or akasha is to be ever free from anything. Nothing touches the sky at all. In its true nature also, the detachment is already present there. Everything happens in the sky. Every event, everything happens in the sky, but the sky is ever untouched by anything which seem to be happening in the sky, in the space. In the same way, the supreme consciousness, the self, the chinmay chidakash, remember, even when we see disturbances also in that, it is always ever peaceful. Even when we see somebody doing wrong things also, or whether we see somebody as a sadhu also, the self is ever untouched by those things. Such kind of thought modifications appear and disappear in the self. For such a man of steady wisdom, remember one thing, and his senses never gets out into any action. They don't have to be by force stopped also. Why? Because the man of steady wisdom lives as a self in the self, so nothing touches this man of steady wisdom. Guna guneshu vartante iti matvana sajjate. This is a clear understanding, clear vision of a man of steady wisdom, and it is his experience day in and day out. And this is a state of a man of steady wisdom. But those people who are ignorant at the moment, or those who, from the level of ignorance, they are starting to move into becoming a seeker, or becoming one person who is desirous to know about the self, desirous to gain the spiritual knowledge, the one who want to know the aspects of spirituality, the one who desires the supreme good for himself or herself. For such a person, there is only one sadhana which this person has to do, niyatam kuru karmatvam, which Bhagavan has declared as the one single advice to Arjuna. Arjuna, you ask na, tadekam vada nishchitya. Here is the direct instruction to you, direct advice to you. Niyatam kuru karmatvam. The only point of of reference for you is, the only thing you need to keep at the back of your mind is, whatever action you do, you must do it with a spirit of yajna. And once you do all the action with intertwined spirit of yajna in that, remember that same becomes one of your or sadhana to make you gain the ultimate in life, which is the self. It will make you gain the ultimate faith in life, and slowly gradually make you get placed in a state called nirvedam. Nirvedam means free from actions. Okay, the moment one reaches this state of achievement, remember, at that same moment itself, the person who was as eligible, who was as capable of karma yoga, has become capable or eligible to move into Sankhya yoga or Sankhya buddhi. He'll immediately become a seeker walking the path of Sankhya Buddhi, means he get promoted from Karma Yoga Buddhi into Sankhya Buddhi instantly. And with that Sankhya Buddhi, it will slowly, gradually culminate his life journey into Brahmanishtha, into complete faith and abidance in the self. With this path only, one can achieve the greatest good in life. Nanyat panthaha vidyate. There is no other path for supreme good available apart from this. But after explaining this in so much detail, in the 30th verse, which we are going to take up today, whatever Bhagwan said from, in the verses 8th and 9th, Bhagwan is going to repeat those words here, culminating his teaching of this topic, so to say. Meaning, you can consider that this verse number 30, is where Bhagwan is completing the teachings of chapter 3. But the thing is the question was, what was the question which Bhagwan is completing the teaching here? Ekam vada nischitya, and Bhagwan had only said this much, niyatam kuru karmatvam. Supreme Consciousness Bhagwan Krishna in the 30th verse is culminating or completing the teaching from that. And he said in the 9th verse, yajnarthat, for with the spirit of yajna, with the thought that you are doing it as a yajna, do all your action. Here Bhagwan completes that teaching saying that devote or complete or surrender all your actions unto me. That is what the verse number 30 is all about. So we'll read the verse number 30. I'll read Bhagwan Shankaracharyaji's bhashya on that, and then we'll take up the meaning from there. Verse number 30, chapter 3. Mai sarvani karmani सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः. मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः. Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji, Bhagwan Bhashyakar, connects the verse 29 to verse 30 with a Sambandh Bhashya on that. He says, Katham punaha karmani adhikritena ajnena mumukshuna karma kartavyam iti uchyate. Then, having said that, whatever Bhagwan has spoken till now, those people who are karma adhikari means those people who are eligible to do action, whose preparedness right now is to continue to do action, those who are ignorant but have mumukshutvam also, mumukshuna, but are desirous to gain the ultimate, how should they set out into action? For that Bhagwan is giving in this verse number 30. Now I'll read Bhagwan Shankaracharya's Bhashya on verse number 30 before we take up the meaning. Bhagwan Bhashyakar says, Mai Vasudeve Parameshware Sarvagne Sarvatmani Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Nikshipya Adhyatma Chetasa Viveka Buddhya Aham Karta Ishwaraya Bhrutyavat Karomi Iti Anaya Buddhaya किंच निराशीः त्यक्ताशीः निर्ममः मम भावः च निर्गतो यस्य तव स त्वं निर्ममः भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः विगतसंताप विगतशोकः सन् इत्यर्थः. Another brilliant verse giving a direct advice to all of us that what is that we should set out into act. How should we set out into action when we start to call us like a beginner devotee? There is a reason why I said that. How can we call ourselves as great devotee of Bhagwan? Those who we are devoted to, they have to give us that designation whether we are a great devotee or not. We all should understand when we start to walk the path of devotion, we should only consider ourselves as a beginner devotee. Why? With that thought process, you will constantly try to refine and improve upon the path of bhakti. If you consider yourself as great devotee, you have already thought yourself as that you already got all that need to be got in devotion, and you will not put any more effort at all. And remember, the moment I call myself a great devotee, it is only coming out of my ego or ahankara. We should not do that. We should always consider ourselves as a beginner devotee, because then we will consider that we have a long way to go, and we'll constantly refine and improve ourselves and try to work upon growing in love and devotion for God. It should be our constant endeavor. Anyway, Bhagwan says here, Bhagwan is making it clear here, Mai. Now, Mahi means in me. In me means in Bhagwan. Bhagwan is talking about, or making it very clear here, that Bhagwan is talking about himself. Himself means Bhagwan is talking about himself as a supreme consciousness here. To ensure that we as listeners of this podcast have got immense clarity, I must bring this word here from Srimad Bhagavat in explaining Mai here. In Srimad Bhagavat, it is said very clearly, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Bhagwan Krishna is no one but the supreme consciousness itself. So what happens sometime is, when I was talking about the in the live satsang of Bangalore also, the topic was the essence of Ramayana. Why? And the essence of Ramayana was given by who? By Bhagwan Shiva only. Because Bhagwan Shiva is one of the greatest devotees of Bhagwan Ram. And Bhagwan Ram has got deep and immense love for Bhagwan Shiva. So we need to understand, I told you, when we speak about Bhagwan Vishnu and Bhagwan Shiva, they are two sides of the same coin. Expression of the same supreme consciousness as in a different role altogether. So in that place also, why I had to bring up that topic, and it's only God's grace that the topic came that we should take that. Sometimes we have to think in a small 2-session satsang what to take up and all, because many topics of Vedanta or many topics of spirituality are very big in nature. They cannot be completed in 1 or 2 sessions. So when we have 2 sessions, we have to think of a topic which we can complete also. So it is said here, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Why I brought up that topic of essence of Ramayana? Because when people read Valmiki Ramayana, or so we people may not have read that also, who I'm saying, we understand Ramayana from the TV serial Ramayana and all. When we see the serial Ramayana and all, many times we now we form a different kind of a view of Ramayana. Of course, the serial maker has got a reason to expound that. They've done a good job by explaining it, no doubt about it. But it is according to their own understanding. that may not be the complete and correct understanding of our Itihasa Ramayana, so to say. So many times when we see Bhagwan Ram's act, why I have to come up with the topic of essence of Ramayana? We see Bhagwan Ram as one of us. And then we try, when we see with as one of us, we see why we consider that the moment you see Bhagwan Ram as one of us and not the incarnation of supreme consciousness, immediately our outlook towards the story changes, our understanding of the story of Ramayana changes. Story is same, but because of our outlook we will consider, oh, you know, yeah, he's, that's sure, he's one of us, like one of us only. That is why he has to go through exile. His own stepmother sent him for exile. He has to go through the situation in life of wife getting kidnapped by a demon, and he had to go and fight and protect them. That is how we see the canvas of Ramayana, but that's not correct way at all. Remember, when Bhagwan takes incarnation and in a human form, I said incarnation in a human form, even though he seemed to be born from a mother's womb, but actually he only appears, he's not born. He is always Aja. Aja means Ajanma. Ajanma means he's always unborn, even when we see him as born. So anyway, so Bhagwan, for Bhagwan Krishna, it is said in Srimad Bhagavat by Vyasji that, you know, Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. You should see the Leela of Bhagwan Krishna as supreme consciousness himself doing Leela. Remember, huh? Leenati iti Leela. All the Leelas of Bhagwan are to show us his greatness and his vast expanse, and to, you know, what do you call that? Implant seed of devotion in us. You should understand that way. Leenati iti Leela. Leelas of Bhagwan are only to generate love and devotion in our hearts. Srimad Bhagavat is full of Leelas of Bhagwan. That is one of the way we need to see it. Now, Bhagwan, when he say Mai here, Bhagwan is trying to point out there is no difference between Yajna and me. See, so how the word is coming. And Bhagwan Bhashyakar are in the 9th verse as Bhashya, he had also said this thing. And Bhagwan said, he brought out Taittiriya Samhita there. He brought out in his Bhashya Taittiriya Samhita and said, Yajna vai Vishnuhu. He said that Yajna is Bhagwan Vishnu himself. And that is exactly what, you know, Bhashyakar said there in the Bhashya of 9th verse. Supreme consciousness Bhagwan Krishna is saying here himself in this particular verse. Now you see, I should also bring out, when I'm on this topic, the beauty of Bhagwan Bhashyakar or Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji. Now, when Bhagwan Bhashyakar writes commentary, he has got a 360-degree view of scripture and scriptures when he sits down and writes Bhashya. It's not that he's trying to give his own understanding to you, which is completely disconnected from the scripture. You see, he brings out what, you know, scriptural teaching to point out that, you know, see, I'm not giving my own understanding here. I'm not trying to, you know, impose my thinking on you. I'm giving you what scripture is saying. Now, only a person who's got a 360-degree view of scripture will be able to do justice of writing a Bhashya. Because unless and until we have that, if we write Bhashya according to our understanding, many verses when we come to those verses, when Bhagwan says that, we will not be able to, you know, justify them. We will not be able to explain them. Why? Because something else we said there, our understanding was different. Here something Bhagwan is saying different. Now both those things don't match. It is good to understand according to your own thing, but sometimes we should take the, you know, we should depend on scripture. We should take the abode of scripture to understand and walk the path. Then only we will have a complete understanding. You know, Bhagwan Bhashyakar in the 9th verse has said that Yajna means Bhagwan Vishnu only. Yajna vai Vishnu. And here Bhagwan is using the same thing here, what Bhagwan Bhashyakar said in the you know, topic of, in the Bhashya of 9th verse. He is explaining the same thing here. Now, had Yajna, a word, been explained with a different meaning there in the 9th verse, then remember, when we come to this particular verse, we will not be able to explain the way the scripture is wanting to explain. Here Bhagwan is meaning with this word something which we would not have been able to explain had we explained the word yajna differently over there. To explain this word yajna to people or listeners, because yes, that's true that at many a times hence it is explained in different senses to make them understand. There is nothing wrong in that. But if we take up a different meaning of yajna, then remember we will not be able to continue with the in line with the teachings of Bhagavad Gita there. We will not be able to explain it here and bring back to the same word here. So for explaining, sometimes we take meaning so that it helps people to understand. But we should come back to the correct meaning as soon as possible so that we can go along with the scripture. Now you see here, the beauty of Bhagwan and Bhashyakar, Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji, is that when he explains the scripture, he'll walk perfectly in line with the teachings of the scripture. He will not go outside that path at all. He will follow continuously and consistently what is being explained as a teaching in the scripture, and he will try to explain the meaning according to the boundaries of the scriptural meaning. He will remain always within that thing. That is why whatever Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji has used is to explain in his bhashya, to explain the scriptural verses and all. Remember, you will never find anywhere where that his explanation has got an opposing meaning in vis-a-vis any scripture, so to say. That is the beauty of Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji. He will none of his explanation will go against any teaching of any verse in any scripture, so to say. That is what you need to understand. And you will see that all what he tries to use as a word in his bhashya, in his commentary of that. But when we move forward in that scripture, you will see that somewhere later in the line it will also be explained in the same manner. That is the beauty of Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji. So Bhagwan says here, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya yudhyasva. Arjun, O Arjun, devoting all your actions, sarvani karmani, devoting all your actions unto me, surrendering all your actions unto me, and keeping in mind that all actions you are doing, making this resolve in your mind firm that whatever actions you are doing in life, you are doing for me. With that thought process, go ahead and fight. Yudhyasva. Bhagwan used the word here, Yudhyasva. You ask, na? Ekam vada nischitya. You only ask, right? That this is the answer for that. Now, how do I translate this to me? Because here Bhagwan said Yudhyasva. Some people have taken that meaning. Since Bhagwan is using the word Yudhyasva, this Bhagavad Gita is only for those who are going to fight in the army or who are fighting a battle. For us, it is not applicable. You are fool if you have taken that meaning. You have not understood the scripture correctly. You have not understood the teaching correctly. The word Yudhyasva we should translate into our respective fields. Now, I want to bring out this fact in front of all of our listeners, that try to keep yourself in the place of Arjun. If we try to place ourselves in the place, and if we try to keep ourselves in the place of Arjun, what will be the meaning of Yudhyasva? According to whatever situations we arrive in our life, whatever situations reach us in our life, if according to whatever capability we have, and within the lines of our own duty or dharma, acting in those situations with our whatever capabilities we have currently within the limits of our own duty. That is what should be understood by the meaning of this word called Yudhyasva. So, according to whatever capabilities we have, whatever situations arrive in our life, remaining within the limits of our duty or whatever falls in the line of my duty, I should act well in that situation. Now, then means what? Whatever situations arrive in my life, that is my battlefield. That is the battlefield for each one of us. And remember, whenever situations come in our life, we have situations in our life which requires us to struggle. You can translate this in your own life. You will understand and this well. Now, the thing we need to understand is whatever situations come in our life is not for our bhoga. It is not for our enjoyership, not for our consumption. Rather, we should utilize them well. Whatever situation, including, I'm telling you, luxury, wealthiness, whatever come in your life, I'm translating all that over here. Now, whatever situations come in our life, there is a specific usage hidden in that. There is a specific utility hidden in that situation. And using that correctly, utilizing that correctly, we can move on, move ahead towards the path of supreme good for us. Paramashreya. Now remember one thing, all the situations which come in our life is our Kurukshetra, is our Dharmakshetra, is our battlefield of fighting. And in fighting means managing it, managing through it, let me say that way. And it's our Dharmakshetra also. It is my field of duty also, field of action also. What is the first verse of Bhagavad Gita? Dharma kshetre kurukshetre. Isn't it? Dharma kshetra and kurukshetra. Whatever situations come in my life, they are my kurukshetra, they are my karma kshetra, they are my dharma kshetra. And remember, situations whatever arise in my life, they will always come according to my own actions of the past, whether this life or past life. That is besides the point. That is, but it is out of my own actions only. Whether we like it or not, situations do come. Whether we try to stop it also, situations do go also. Both these things are reality of life. Whether you like it or not, situations will come. Whether you want it to go or not, whatever situation has to go will go also. It will come and go. That is why Puja Gurudev said, when adverse situations come in our life, understand that even this will pass away. This thought will really help us. So even if we try to stop any situation, when if the time has come for it to go, it will go. Now, the result of action, be because being the result of action, a situation to come in our life does not wait for our choice or approval, or does not wait for whether we expect it or not. Situations will come whether you expect it or not. Situation don't come to you many times as per your expectation. Why? Because it will come out in your life as per your karma phala, as per the actions you have done in your life. Now, how whenever situation comes in somebody's life, how will that person act in that? That is something in which will sometimes dependent on us, sometimes it is outside our control. Means what? When uh, how a person will act in a situation, depending upon person to person, sometimes it will be within the control, sometimes it will be outside the control. It will be somebody gets thrown into as per the propensity of habits and nature of a person also. Just think for a while, when you work with different sets of people. When you have shared responsibilities with people, or when you have hand off and shake off with people in terms of your work arena, how will the other person act? You have no control on that at all. Remember that very well, huh? That will be in the area of that person. You cannot control that. Now, whatever situations come in my life, I will have to act. It's not an option that I may choose to act, I may not choose to act. But Bhagwan is giving us an instruction and teaching there and advice there, that your action should be according to your line of duty. Understand your duty and do your action. Bhagwan says here, Mai sanyasya sarvani karmani. Surrendering all the actions unto me, do all your respective duties and action. Now, when Bhagwan says sarvani karmani, let's try to dwell into the meaning of this word. Now, when we say all action, in those all action, my daily bath will also come, my daily dhyana, snana and dhyana both will come. My bath will also come in that. My daily course which I do in the when I get up in the morning will also come, and if I do meditation and all, that will also come. Then what is the meaning of this? How do you understand this word called sannyasa? What does Bhagwan mean by this word sannyasa? Whether it is to not act, or is it some different meaning, so to say? Now, if it is not to act, what do you mean by not acting? Or giving up action is what sannyasa means. What do you mean by giving up? Now, means what? I should give up my daily course like bath and meditation, other thing also. Is it that what Bhagwan is meaning here? Now let's understand this word sannyasa also. This word sannyas comes from a dhatu called as. As dhatu is what this sannyas word comes from. Now, this as dhatu in Sanskrit has got two meanings. One meaning is to give up, and the other meaning is to keep. Very strange. Opposing meanings are there. That is why for Sanskrit you need to understand, you have to take the contextual meaning, because many a times different dhatu means roots, huh? Different roots have different meanings. Means what? One root may have different meanings also, so you have to take according to the contextual meaning. Now you see, from this as dhatu only this word comes shilanyas. Shilanyas in Sanskrit means doing a pratishtha, means setting up something at, or firmly placing something at some place. So shilanyas means probably in the context of what you call that prana pratishtha, it will be like placing the vigraha of Bhagwan at a particular place. There is a puja over there, it's called shilanyas. Or you say what inaugurating stone you keep at a place to start an auspicious activity, so shilanyas means keeping something at the right place is called shilanyas. So one meaning is to keep the action, but then the question comes, where should I keep the action? Here the word sannyas means actually devoting your actions, not giving up, huh? Devoting, okay, you can take the meaning. Devoting means surrendering your actions unto Bhagwan. Now, what do you mean by the word devoting or surrendering here? Now, karma or action is not an object. Um, like a flower and all that I can offer it unto Bhagwan. Karma is not an object which I can offer it to Bhagwan. So what do you mean by the word here, offering unto Bhagwan? It's not like a flower or garland I offer at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. Now, like I offer flower or garland at the lotus feet of Bhagwan, how can I keep my action at the lotus feet of Bhagwan? Now, what is the meaning of this word called devoting our actions unto God, or surrendering our actions unto God? Means what? The one keeping in mind for whom I am doing an action, there only I can do the act of surrendering or devoting this action unto him. See, now I'll tie it back to my earlier episodes. and I have spoken elaborately on that. What? Kasmai devaya havisha vidhema. There it comes here. Mai sanyasya sarvani karmani. Kasmai devaya havisha videma, tight here. Kasmai devaya havisha videma is an injunction or advice in Ved Bhagwan. It comes from Rig Ved Hiranya Garbha Suktam. It comes from there. Kasmai devaya havisha videma. What is the utility behind all your endeavors and action? Who are you doing your actions for? Now remember, who you surrender or devote your actions to will completely depend upon earlier who have you set out to do the actions for. What is your decision in terms of who are you doing this action for? That is something which you need to sit down and analyze for yourself. If the utility of your action, or if the purpose of your action is to only strengthen your ahankara ego, then remember that action of yours is devoted and surrendered unto your own ego. If the purpose of your action is to nourish or fulfill the society, then remember that action of yours is devoted, dedicated, or surrendered unto the society. If your action is being done with only one thing in mind, with only one purpose in mind, that whatever I am doing is only and only for the purpose of making my God happy, then remember that action of yours is devoted, dedicated, and surrendered unto God, unto Supreme Consciousness. Now, the direct relationship of devotion, dedication, of surrender is with this first part of this statement, or first word in this statement called Kasmai. Kasmai, who you set out as the purpose of your action, Tasmai, to that only your action will be devoted, dedicated, and surrendered unto. This thing should be clear in our intellectual understanding. It should be clear in our head that this is how my dedication and or my devotion in the action works. Now, if a person acts for the society or the nation, when a person sets out to act for that, yes, in that also one can establish walking the path of karma yoga, but it will be only partial. This is what I need to explain when I say here, because let me explain you the verse in the context why Bhagavan is saying Mai Sarvani Sanyasya, Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya. Bhagavan, why is he bringing out him here? So if somebody is working in devotion and dedication to society and the nation also, remember, yes, that person is doing karma yoga, but his karma yoga is only partial in nature. Why it is partial? Because nation, society, or our culture, they do not have any, they are not living entities, so to say. That is why in our intellect there is some fact called I'm doing it for somebody who is not seen. Parokshata is there. Parokshata means that pratyaksha and paroksha, these two things you need to remember. Pratyaksha means that which can be seen by my senses, which can be experienced by my senses. But country, society, and all these things are not something which I can see in terms of direct, result being seen there. I cannot see that. Even when I work for culture, also it can't be seen. Now, trying to associate our intellect with that which is seen itself is difficult. Well, why? Because many things we do not find devotion in things like that. So even those things when we see, sometimes it's not easy for us to actually get dedicated and devoted for that. That itself is becomes a difficult thing for us to place our dedication and devotion at the level of intellectual. Well, and then when we say paroksha, that which is not seen, in it is very difficult for, or that which is not seen, for us to judge what is right and what is not right, because you cannot see the direct impact when you do for the nation or you do for the society. Sometimes I'll tell you honestly, at the political level also, they, when they do for the good of the nation, and many a times they do not have the clear view whether that is going to benefit the nation in long run also or not. When we work for the benefit of the nation and or the society also, we will have to classify them into two categories: short term benefit and long term benefit. Now, short-term benefit is something which you can easily assess. Long-term benefit is not easy to assess. So, in this case, you need to understand, when we talk about paroksha, that thing which is not, or directly experienced by us in terms of seeing the benefit, it ratio to it, it is very difficult for us to assess what is right, it for what is a long term benefit for that, and what is not. It is very difficult for us to say. Now, when it is something is not seen by us, we become like a, sometimes it becomes like a what do you call that, a easy way out for us, that let us do whatever we feel like at doing. We will see later on whether it is benefiting or not also. At the political level, many such decisions have come about in the past also, which we now feel that they were a mistake when they were taken. Why? Because then person tries to, since you cannot see the benefit directly, you see, let me do the way I feel it right, but that may not be the right way. That is what, that clear understanding we must have. And one disaster which happens with such kind of an attitude is, our intellect try to act very like a clever. It becomes try to act like, with cleverness, it's try to act into, and we try to justify what we are doing as right, and we just move ahead with it without even considering the other thing, and we end up doing action according to what we feel right. When a person finds a living guru, now this is where I want to bring out one aspect here also. I said in my live satsang also, you know to develop devotion and the attitude of service towards a guru, you have to approach a guru while he is living. Because then we will feel that whatever I'm doing a surrender only. I'm telling you, I have seen many examples in my life where after the guru is gone, they're saying that I have been serving him for so long, they've done nothing when, and the guru was living also. Many times they've not even paid visit also. Now they say that, we are the one who are serving better, you are all wasting time and all. There are many such things which I have seen in the life also. So when a living guru is there, that at that time, what is the attitude one develops as a disciple or a follower or anything, that we try to see God in them, and seeing God in them, we try to serve them. Why? Because Bhagwan Narayan himself is the Param Guru. Bhagwan Shiva is the ultimate Guru. Bhagwan Narayan is the Param Guru. But with the, as the passage of time, as the time moves on uh, if Guru is not physically present in front of us, it becomes difficult for us to gauge that fact, that whether I am, what I'm doing, is it making my guru happy also or not. When the guru goes, it's difficult, unless and until while he is living I understand what makes him happy clearly. When he is gone, it's very difficult for me to act according to who that, who will tell me, what I am doing is it something which will give me more or closeness towards my guru? Will it give me love of my guru towards flowing towards me or not? How will I set up the parameter to gauge whether I'm doing it for my guru's or God's happiness also or not? Now Bhagwan, God also, when we talk about God, remember one thing: for God, the word comes is aparoksh. He's not pratyaksh, he's not paroksh also. He's not away from us. He is aparoksh. Aparoksh means while he is not seen by us, but he is always around us. That is why, self-realization is called aparoksha anubhuti. Aparoksh. It's not something far from me. It is always near me, but it is not pratyaksha also. It is neither pratyaksha, it's not nor paroksh also. That is why it's called aparoksh. Now, God is not a far living entity or something which cannot be seen by cannot be experienced by me at all. And God is not a person also to become like, pratyaksha, to become a character in the history also. So Bhagwan Bhashyakar says here, he gives four meaning of this word called Mai. You see the beauty of Bhagwan Bhashyakar here. Let's come back to verse here. Bhagwan Bhashyakar says Mai. Mai he explains with four words: Vasudeve, Parameshware, Sarvagne, Sarvatmani. See the beauty of Bhagwan Bhashyakar. He coins four words here to explain the word Mai. Vasudeve. When we say Vasudeve, we are here directly attributing it to incarnated form called Bhagwan Krishna, or incarnation of Bhagwan Krishna. Straight away we say that. And who has taken incarnation? Who is he? He coins the other three words here as Parameshware. He is the supreme consciousness himself. I told you, na, Srimad Bhagavat said that, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Vedavyas is also, using in defining it from here only. Parameshware, supreme consciousness himself. Sarvagne, the one who knows everything in this cosmos. Nothing is hidden from him. Sarvatmani, who is residing as a self in all. Now see these four words. God is Sarvatman. God is the self of all, because of which he is yourself also. If Chidabhas, us, is nothing but the reflection, if our individual self, which is Chidabhas we call it, is nothing but the reflection of the total self, so then, and who is the total self? God only. Who is getting reflected as the individual self? God only is getting reflected. Reflection, how can the reflection be different from the one who is reflected? So reflected without the reflected, reflection has got no entity. Reflection is nothing but of the reflected only, and the reflected is who? The God only. In its real form, in its true form, he is the one who is sitting in all of us as Antaryami, the one who is sitting as the supreme self, our individual self within all of us. Then what is that which will make him happy? What is that which is dear to him? That then only we'll, if we dwell deep into us, then we can understand what makes him dear and what makes him unhappy. You just pay a little attention inside you, you will understand this clearly. And when we talk to people outside, and with love and affection, and or we behave with people outside harshly, at that time look inside you, you will understand, and whether he is happy with you or he is not. It is not very difficult. The only thing is we have to pay a little focus on that. When I was talking in the live satsang in Bangalore, at that place I said, Bhagwan Shiva, after listening to Mother Parvati's question, because that question became the reason for him to bring what do you call that, experience of supreme consciousness in his intellect, he went into samadhi for he went into samadhi for a long period of time, and with ardhanimilit half shut and half open. Why? Because he has love and compassion to Mother Parvati also. He wants to resolve her doubt also, and he doesn't want to see the world also. because that is the experience of the self, is the bliss himself. Who wants to come out from that? So it is said there, puni bahar keen, he forced himself to look outside and transact. Just see the state of us. For us it is so difficult and so impossible to keep our vision inside or look inside. And for Bhagwan Shiva, it is he's facing difficulty in keeping his vision outside, to look outside. See the difference between Bhagwan Shiva and us. Anyway, the point here is, when you do such act, look within you, you will understand, you will have the feeling. When we do act wrong with people, we will understand that I end up doing some mistake. And it is easy to feel that at all. Why? Because the one who is standing in front of me is a living entity. When you do for the nation, and whether it has benefited the nation or not, who will decide that? Many a times, many decision, and later on feels that we did not do it right also. That is why, you know when we do it for God, since he is living in every space, he is all pervading in this entire nation, in this entire cosmos, in this entire creation. That is why when we pay an attention, and we will understand whether he is happy with our action and also or not. So that's why pay attention to God, and remember, we must do that. When we pay attention, we feel he doesn't speak, right? But even though he doesn't speak, but he will through his experience make you feel that you are inflicting pain on others, and you are inflicting injustice on others, but you have to have this vision to look inside. So-called intellectuals, who we call as intellectuals in today's world, they say those people who walk the line of dharma, the path of dharma or duty, their boundary is very small. What are you talking about? In an atom, this whole universe exists. And when you try to do research on an atom, you will try to open up and open up the understanding about this whole creation. you know uh, I'll give you one example here of Gandhiji. Mahatma Gandhiji I'm talking about. uh, Whatever he used to do, sometimes in the small act of his also, deep things were hidden inside his acts. Like, he used to do that spinning thing, we call it charkha. And he used to spin his own cloth and he used to wear them with whatever thread he spun from that. He used to create his own cloth. Now, what in those times, if you really see, what used to happen is that whatever was as produced here, it used to be, the entire cotton was sent outside to England, and clothes used to be manufactured in England. And the clothes manufactured in England used to come back. Of course, when it has gone and come back, it will be expensive. And here, people used to enjoy, and we used to feel pride in wearing them. Because of that, the weavers here who used to spin clothes and all, they became jobless. Why? Because people start to get used to wearing English clothes, so to say. Only when we at that point in time, Gandhiji decided, only when we drop off English clothes, then only our weavers here, our cloth weavers here will get work. And our money will also not go abroad. And even though it started with a small act, it became a national initiative. It took the form of a national agitation also, that we should weave our own clothes and all those things. Now, when we do keeping, if that is the case of doing it for the nation, when we keep doing action keeping God in mind, and keeping this in mind, keeping a vision that with my act God should be happy, remember, in the people around me also the same God is sitting. And when I act with people around me with humility and oh, with compassion, remember, I am touching God through everyone around me. And that's how I should act. Ved Bhagwan is asking this question to all of us. Look within you. Kasmai devaya havisha videma. All the actions you are doing, who are you offering your action as havis to? Havis means the sacrificial thing offered in the yajna is called havis. So who are you offering your action as havis to? Who is your devata? And here Bhagwan answers that as Mai. Supreme Consciousness Bhagwan says is, who should be your actual offering towards? Who should be your Devata? Here, Devaya, who should be your Devata? Mai. And that Mai, that Bhagwan himself, he is Sarvagnya. He knows everything, is all knower. So because he is all knower, he is Sarvagnya. Whenever you do an action, with what intention you are doing an action, it is not hidden from him at all. He is sitting right inside you, man. Nothing is hidden from him. And he's sitting right inside you as a antaryami, as a sarvatma, as a self of all, as one who knows everything, who can see everything. Because of that, nothing is hidden from him. Never ever think that even if he knows what, he is only a drishta. No, even if he knows what happens, remember, he is not only a drishta, he is Parameshwar also. He is the presiding God of this whole creation, and he is the one who rules over this creation. We are all under his rule. And remember one more thing, he has got one more role as Karma Phala Data. He is the one who ensures that all the fruits of action goes to respective people only. So, hey Arjun, all your action, do all your action as a devotion unto me. All your endeavor, or the purpose of all your endeavor should be me only. That's how you should do all your action. And this is a clear advice and instruction to you, Arjun. How will this happen? Now this is a question which will come, when we translate to us. We have become habituated currently by way of our working, not only in this life, in the past life, that we have been, through all our action, we have been doing nothing but strengthening our ego. How can we drop that thing which we have got habituated into, that which has gone into our nature? How can we drop that? For that, Bhagwan says, Adhyatma Chetasa. This is the only methodology of surrender. You need to gain, you need to work upon. Bhagwan Bhashyakar has done the meaning here of Adhyatma Chetasa as Viveka Buddhya iti artha. In the context of this teaching, in what is Viveka Buddhya? What do you mean by Viveka Buddhi? Or what do you mean by an wisdom? Or what do you mean by intellectual clarity? Here, this intellectual understanding that Bhagwan Bhashyakar himself has said, Karta aham Ishwaraya Bhrutyavat Karomi. Even if I am considering myself as the doer, if you are not able to move to the fact that I'm not the doer, you are not able to experience that, you're not able to come to terms with this thought process that I'm not the doer, then do what? Remain a doer. But which kind of a doer? That I'm nothing but a humble servant of Lord. I should live a life as a humble servant of Lord, and all the actions I'm doing only for my master, who is God. He's the master of this whole universe. He's the master of this whole creation. Even if I'm not able to give up the doership, at least I would adapt this thought process that even though I'm keeping the doership with me, but what kind of a doer I am? A mere servant of my master, mere servant of Lord. That is what is called yoga here. And this is the strong message of Srimad Bhagavad Gita for all of us. There is no hidden secret in this at all. And if we are able to do this, remember one thing, we are opening doorway to our supreme good, Paramashreyas. We are opening doorway for our eternal gain, eternal growth in life, or ultimate vertical growth in life. This thought of becoming a humble servant, or having an intellectual understanding that I'm a humble servant at the lotus feet of God, has got three facilitating or nourishing factors and three opposing or adverse factors which impact this thought process. Now, I'm going to only highlight them. Bhagwan himself has mentioned in this verse also, but I'll take up this in detail in the next session because it is a little long for me to explain actually. What are the three facilitating factors or nourishing factors of this thought process that I'm a mere humble servant at the lotus feet of God? Bhagwan mentions here as vigata jwaraha nirmamaha nirashihi bhutva. One says is that the factors which nourishes this thought process that I'm a mere humble servant at the lotus feet of God is vigata jwaraha nirmamaha nirashihi. Now I'll explain the literal meaning of this, but I'll take up the detail in the next one. Let's pick up from nirashi first, because that's what Bhagwan has listed down first here. Nirashi means that I do not have any kind of expectations with result at all. Now the point is, without expectation, how to do action? Now that is a thing which is like thought provoking for us. Now expectation, the word expectation is always related to future. Now and remember one thing, what is that is in future with respect to action? The fruit of action. Expectation is always with regards to future, and the fruit of action is something which will always be in the future. Now, those action which we do for today, Bhagwan is saying those actions which you do today, do not keep an expectation of fruit for them at all. Why? Because your expectation should always be associated with happiness of God. That whatever action I do, God should be happy. Your attention should be only on that. Whether with my action my God is happy also or not. And if that is the case, that I'm doing it for the happiness of God, then why do I have to look into future? I don't have to look into future at all. That one supreme consciousness who is sitting as an antaryami in me, he already knows my choice, already knows that what resolve I've made within me, what is the purpose of my action. He knows and he sees it very clearly. Rather than tying my mind to the fruit of action and taking my mind's attention to future, it is better that I should tie it to God, and I should be able to immediately see within me whether my God is happy or not. Those people who are desirous of fruit, remember, their mind never remains in the current. Their mind is always roaming around in the future. They start to dream about the results in future, and some people are so negative in nature that the moment they think of future, for them everything in the future seems adverse. Oh, this is also not going to happen, that is also not going to happen. It seems very weird kind of a vision they start to have about the future, and it becomes very dangerous to think about that. Their mind and is never able to become firm in the current. And You will always be fearful about the future. Bhagwan is saying here, don't become desirous of the fruit of your action. Do your action as a devotion towards the Antaryami, or the God who is sitting within you. That is the first factor. The second factor is Nirmama. Those we'll take up in the, that onwards, rest we'll take up in the next session. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि श्रीमन्नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। ओम तत्सत।